fauna. Yay!
What the fauna? Woot.
Woot woot. This is our flagship episode. I don't know if that's the right word, but it sounded good to me.
Flagship. Yeah, it's
Pilot.
it's our beagle.
It's our beagle. I like beagles. All right, so I'm Jen. That's Whitney.
And I'm Whitney. Yep.
Hello. Starting a podcast. This is our first episode, and so I was thinking this is why we're doing this podcast. Overall, is because got to go through a little short story about myself. I have a son. He's an amazing, wonderful little 4-year-old. He's beautiful. He's inquisitive. He wants to see everything about animals and oceans. You know, he doesn't want to go in the ocean, but, you know, can't really blame him for that, you know. But he wants to watch all the nature shows, all the cartoons. And so we're watching Our Planet. And if you guys have seen it, it's fantastic. It's narrated by Dave Attenborough. Like, he's the voice of the world of nature and everything. Like, you hear his voice and you're like, fuck, shit's going to get real. Anyway. I'm not wrong.
You're not. I just recently saw somebody redub it over with Gollum's voice.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of
it was like, oh god.
That's fun. Well, so on Our Planet, we're starting at the beginning. I think we're in the first or second episode, and the cute little leatherback turtles are like bloop 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 bloop, going toward, like, they hatch and they're going toward the sea, and it's like, oh, and my son's looking at me like, oh, it's so cute, look at them, and bam, the gulls descend, whoosh, like 30% of the babies are freaking gone, and my son's looking at me, and then the crabs come, and like there's another 20%, then some lizards come, and there's more, and like these little guys are just trying to get to the ocean. Everything under the sun is just fucking them up. And so my son looks at me and is like maybe like 3 get to the ocean, and he looks at me and he's like, will someone come and save the others? I'm like, no.
It's a circle of life.
So I'm there and I'm just like, all right, so nature is really, really fucking brutal. And I mean, we all love nature. It's gorgeous. It's fascinating. But it's not friendly. Like, you watch all these cartoon shows and Disney, and you're like, oh, it's lovely. And no, it's not. No. Like, there's so many resources that are like one of my son's favorite shows is Octonauts. And I love it too, because they feed the predator. Like, they help the fish get away from the shark. Yeah. But then they feed the shark, because the shark's got to eat. Like, every time you watch a nature show, whether, you know, somebody loses. Always. Yep.
Nature, you know, scary and you rough.
You rough. Yeah. So, you know what? So, like, most of the stuff, though, for nature is, like, geared toward little kids. And I was like, you know what? Let's do a podcast that's fun and exciting and cool, but not, like, for kids. So, if you're here and your kids are listening, it's going to get gritty and it's going to get sweary. And
we're gonna have adult humor here. That's
yes. Because we're gonna go through all the unbelievable, like, brutality of nature, you know, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be enjoyable. This is something that you're gonna, like, walk into work the next day and be the weird guy who's like, hey, did you know hippos can excrete sunscreen? It's kind of red. And people are gonna be like, what the fuck have you been doing with your life? It's like, no, it's really cool. Like, and you know what? Hopefully you'll tell your coworkers and they'll listen to us too, and they'll be like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And did you see the male hippo? It's like charging people and taking out a truck. You'd be like, yeah, brutal. So anyway, so we're gonna work through the animal kingdom. We're gonna work on different.
And we're gonna
species.
go through tangents too. By the way, we're not. Yes. We're gonna be totally mind
irreverent.
Whatever that's called. We're gonna go on mind journeys. ADHD fueled mind journeys.
So we hope you all enjoy it. Yeah. So I'm of the school of the animal kingdom and the 4 Fs. So there's a lot of different, like, schools of thoughts about animals. I like the 4 Fs. Which, for those who don't know, They're the 4 considered to be like the basic primal drives or instincts of all animals, even humans. We're not all high and mighty, and everyone's like, I look at an art museum. No, fuck you. Fuck you. You're going at the same 4 Fs everyone else is. All right. So these all revolve around the survival of the species. That's all you're trying to do is the species continuing. So you got feeding, right? You got fighting. You got fleeing. And we all know, yeah, fucking. If you haven't said it, you keep listening. You need help, okay? Yeah, keep going. But we're a little bit too early in the episode for that. So we are going to go into our first animal. Now that I've been kind of a pretentious fuck.
You kind of you explained yourself. You didn't explain me.
Oh yeah. All right. Sorry.
You brought me in here.
Let me pass it off to Whitney, who is phenomenal. He came up with the name, which amuses the hell out of me. I love it.
What the fauna? Yeah. So anyway, this is her brainchild, and she asked me. Why did you ask me to come on?
Because you are the most knowledgeable person about animals I know, and I'm going to bring this up time and time again. I describe Whitney as, I have this really cool friend from college. He flew to Antarctica to jiggle a penguin.
I didn't do it to jiggle the penguins. That
he wanted to. I want to. Heck, I mean, pick him up by their little.
Just because I learned that the fine was $10,000 to jiggle a penguin.
I love the fine. No, jiggling a penguin. It's molestation.
Of wildlife. But according to the Antarctic Treaty, but it's probably changed since then. We're a little older now.
No one does that, though. No one does that.
I have a copy of it in my room here somewhere. When I saw the picture of a penguin with its 50% body fat content, I was like, "Oh my god, I want to jiggle it," and then never left it down for the rest of my life. So you brought me on. We actually met in college. We took a number of classes together because you were in you're the fancy biology stuff.
I was the medical illustrator.
Yeah, medical illustration, which is I like to call them in college the artsy biology.
See, you got to play and explore and learn about the stuff.
Yes.
I got to cut it up.
I was cutting it up right next to you. Literally, those were the classes that we had together. We both cut it up. Yes. You just had a lot of drawing afterwards. I just am like, I'm going to slice this up. Have fun. I'm done here. And so anyway, then after college, I did about 15 years in the zoo field. And now I basically do pet behavior for where I live, just helping people understand their animals and each other. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I come in with a zoological education background, so I have a lot of knowledge on a lot of weird things, but I'm not an expert on any one thing.
I don't know. I mean, it depends where you put the bar for expert. So if
Dunning-Kruger levels,
most people's experts are like, "Hey, cows have 4 legs," and you're over there like, yes, they regurgitate, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yes. But the thing is, I usually have to go back and go, wait, what the fuck does that animal do again? Oh, yeah, that's right. This is one of those types. That's right. Okay. I can talk about it now.
So anyway, I wanted this podcast to be educational for all of us nature nerds who are adults. And I definitely come in as more of the amateur. And I need, we need the voice of Whitney. We need someone who's like, no, Jen, that's not what it's called. That's incredibly stupid, actually. I need that.
That was a fantastic theory in the 70s. But
oh, Christ! So if you're listening to this, look for Coco, because Whitney's probably going to do an episode about Coco the gorilla.
Oh, God.
And all of the incredible wonder that she is and the insane misconception and data manipulation.
It's not going to be as happy as people want it to be.
But she's still cute, and she still loved Robin Williams. And we'll keep with that.
Kinda. We'll go.
Everyone loves Robin Williams. Everyone
loves Robin. We're not going to defame Robin Williams.
If you don't love Robin Williams, just get the fuck out.
Yes.
Unless you're gonna throw huge sums of money at us, in which case, keep it to yourself.
Yes.
No,
Yep.
no, still get the fuck out. It's Robin Williams.
Yeah, it's Robin Williams.
I can't be bought for Robin.
Anyway,
All right. So anyway,
first animal.
Our first animal. So each we're gonna try and highlight an animal. So we're gonna start with a snail. And
the
you go,
world's most exciting. Wait, no, that's not a charismatic fauna.
No, okay, so this is I'm gonna say it's the coolest, actually the hottest snail ever. So can you guess the snail from that one little clue?
I would just like to add that it is the hottest snail we know of.
Oh
Yes.
God, someone hit him hard. All right, so if you have not heard of it, don't worry, you are by far not the only one. This snail was only discovered recently, and by recently I mean like in the 2000s. In 2021.
Don't worry though. Like other species that we've recently discovered, we instantly moved it towards the endangered list.
Oh yeah, yes, quickly we've done that. So in 2020,
keeping that human record going, folks.
In 2001, someone said, "Hey, look at that! It's moving. What is it?" And then everyone just fucked off, and no one even decided to name it until 2015. 14 years later, they're like, "Hey, these things are still here."
Did you say 2021 or 2001?
2001. I'm sorry if I said 20. Yeah, 2001 is when it was like, "Hey, look at that shit."
That's weird.
So
is that a snail on a volcanic vent?
You just gave away the name. It's the volcano snail.
I suck at this.
So if you're near a computer, which is since you're watching this, you are. Excuse me.
No, be realistic. They're on their car, driving, or doing laundry.
Okay, true. But you still got a phone nearby, so look up a picture of this badass.
Even while driving, I totally no.
Well, okay, when you're not driving, God. Okay.
No, I'm.
So image searches. This is some grade A top crazy shit. And for those of you who cannot look at the moment, I want you to come up with this mental image. I want you to think that Nosferatu has come and romanced the queen of the Aliens movies, and they've reproduced and had children. But the children are very, very small. I mean, big for a snail, but very small. So take an alien queen and Nosferatu and just kind of smash that together.
And sometimes they're gold.
Yes. All right, but we're not going to talk about them. I'm not talking about the gold ones. We're talking about the black and red badass ones. All right, so like I said, small, but big for a snail. So like snails, like your average snail is like 15 millimeters long.
Yeah.
The volcano snail is gigantic. It's 35 millimeters long. It's huge. And for those who don't do the metric system, that's like an inch and a half long for the volcano snail. I mean, perfect. Like if you got a like a slingshot, like bam. Perfect.
That's longer. That's longer than some of the guys that I know.
Do we need to discuss the places that you've been hanging out? we know someone in St. Louis. Never mind. Anyway,
never mind.
We love you. Okay, so we're talking about a snail. Like, why a snail? Like snails, it's not really cool. But this guy is awesome. They metabolize iron into their bodies. Like they're the only species on Earth
that we know of.
Yeah, thank you, Whitney. That does this. Okay, so and they don't just do it into their shell either. They do it to their feet too. Feet, foot. We're gonna get into that. Don't worry. We're gonna get feet debate. But there's all iron there too. So it's like this squishy bit between two metabolized iron. What?
The way I describe it is like it looks like a chain plate dress that just kind of goes over that like pseudopod thing
like
that the snails slide on and go off of.
I could see Heidi Klum wearing a dress inspired by a volcano snail. Yeah, I could do that.
When I was looking this guy up, the fan art I saw, very cool. One of them was a woman in a dress. Well, it was an anthropomorphic snail woman with like this iron dress. It was right out of Game of Thrones.
So Whitney and I have a theory that everything is a fetish. Everything.
No, that's not a theory. That's a known fact of humanity.
Okay, it depends what you call facts. Okay. Anyway, so seriously, so these things. All right, when people first started pulling them, they live in the ocean. So when people started pulling them to the surface, it was like the platypus situation all over again. People were like, "Bullshit. That's not a real creature. Bullshit."
Yep.
And they didn't believe it. It was an April. They thought, "Oh, it's an April Fool's joke." Pretty lame April Fool's joke. Like I'd come up with something way better, like your faucet spray in the face. I don't know.
Right.
Just as if, look, I came up with a new snail. It's kind of suck. But they live in the ocean, in specifically the Indian Ocean. All right. So they are. I said they're the hottest and most metal creature. They live around these things, hydrothermal vents, which are a couple miles down, 1.5 miles, almost 2 miles down in the ocean are these hydrothermal vents. And they're super, super, super hot. I'll throw out some numbers for you guys. We're talking, they can be anywhere from 140 to 870 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, water at standard temperature and pressure boils at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So this water can be over 800 degrees. So they call it's super, super, super heated. Now, we'll talk a little bit about what a hydrothermal vent is. So where continents meet, there's the tectonic plates. When they start to move and stuff, magma comes up from the inside of the earth. Magma.
Not a fun word.
It comes up. And it brings up like tons of nutrients and a lot of the sulfur that we're going to talk about.
Nutrients is a loose word here.
Hey, these bastards eat it. If these bastards eat it, then actually, it's nutrients.
That's actually what's one thing that's really interesting with these guys. They don't.
Well, they don't. Okay. Yeah,
they don't actually eat anything in their adult life. We have to say that, though. We have to say adult life because you know what we know about their baby life, their larval state? Jack shit. That's what we know. We don't know. We know they lay eggs, they have larvae, and then adult. And
nobody's found the in-between yet. They're like,
No, they found them, but they can't study them because they're squishy. And if you bring them to the surface, well, think about what happens if you went a few thousand feet below the water. You'd turn into what was that name of that sub with the rich people? You turn into that.
Dickheads Anonymous. Yeah, those fuckwits. Yeah,
turn into that. But when they come up to the surface, their organs do the reverse.
Okay, so about their eggs,
I guess it's more like if we went into space.
Their eggs are really cool, and this is a good place to put it. Their eggs are actually, so most eggs, like fish eggs and like frog eggs and stuff, float. These don't. These are reverse buoyancy. Yeah, like can you imagine just being born and like, wow, like 2 miles up, So these are actually like little metal BBs. They just kind of roll around. They go thunk and just roll.
Pop it. Yep. They actually, they do quite a bit of them, and then
pretty cool.
But we still don't know a whole lot about the egg structure or the larva, because really all we've been able to do is like observe them a little bit.
And we don't,
because
the problem
who'd have thought putting cameras and technical equipment in a volcano is hard. Sorry, a volcano thousands of feet below the surface of the water.
Exactly. So okay, so how I said water boils at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, this water can't boil, even though lava and magma is coming up. It can't boil into steam because of all the pressure of all the water above it. So it just gets superheated. And okay, here's a little volcano snail, going, hey, peace, motherfuckers. As to where you and I would be, I'm crushed.
I'm crushed, dead. We're not. We would be a red mist that would then be consumed.
I'm not sure it'd be a mist.
Oh well, then we have to be a mist because that's all that's left. But we'd be consumed immediately by everything down there because everything's super efficient and just goes, we're going to consume everything.
Yeah, exactly. So
whatever falls down here, we get it.
So these vents, I talked about the magma. They're releasing iron sulfide. That's where these snails are getting the iron they're putting into their shells and stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in the Indian Ocean, where these guys are.
So actually, it's weird because they're not actually releasing the iron sulfide.
The vents?
The vents are just releasing that, and then the bacteria creates a weird. It's basically the bacterial shit because the bacteria
All right, getting ahead of yourself.
They need the sulfide, and which is also why they don't eat.
Yes, we'll get to that though. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So we got the thermal vents. We got the snails creeping around by them. Now, so these are called black smokers though, because of all the iron in the water. Now
Right.
there are also other hydrothermal vents that are only a few miles away that don't have any of the iron in it. Those are called white smokers. Now, it's a really fun factoid is the volcano snails are genetically identical to the snails that live by the white smokers. So
they're the same species that I shouldn't say species. They're the same, but what they're finding is because they don't have iron, they don't have. So there's actually 3 volcano snails that we know of. One of them has the iron, the other 2 don't, and the only reason we think that they don't is just because those volcanic vents don't have iron. That's it.
So
they probably can process it.
They can probably. I mean, the bacteria will probably have to change, but yeah. So imagine this. Okay, so imagine you work in a Cheeto factory all day, and your body's like, "Wow, there's a lot of Cheeto dust around here. Let's do something with that." And one day, all of a sudden, you lick your arm, and you're like, "Wow, it's orange and tastes delicious." Your body's just decided to make you part Cheeto because you live around Cheetos dust all the time. That's kind of what these iron snails have done. They're like, there's a bunch of iron around. Let's use it. I just really want to have a dream. I want a lucid dream about myself turning into a Cheeto.
Want to know something that also is interesting about this? This method of defense, because that's basically why you want iron. Because you can have a calcium shell or an iron shell. Which one are you going to pick? I'd like the iron, please.
Yeah, exactly.
But this actually used to be a fairly common method of defense at one point in time.
There was actually part iron.
Yeah. In fact, these are what we would call I forgot the word. Anyway, they're an archaic species. So they actually exist. Other species existed that were like this.
Ambiogenesis is what, or ambiogenesis. Excuse me.
Okay.
Ambiogenesis is the word you're looking for. It's like the origin of life.
No, not ambiogenesis. Just basically, it's a living fossil.
Oh, okay. You're looking for that. So I'm thinking of scientists believe thermal vents. This is kind of the place that life started.
Right.
Which here, this will trip you out. So the same kind of hydrothermal vents are believed to be on the moons of Saturn, on Jupiter's moons, and probably once existed on Mars. So, hey, maybe are these volcano snails? Did they really evolve here?
No, I think they evolved here, 100%.
I don't know. I mean, they could be aliens. They could be.
Well, that's why I'm kind of going into my tangent, which is the evolutionary line of it. Because what they are is there actually used to be hundreds and hundreds of species, and we have fossilizations of their iron fossils that we have on record. But what's happened is all these other clades, all these other groups that branched out, they all went extinct, and now we only have a few. Now, we only know of the 3, but once again, I'd like to point out that this is one of the hardest places on the planet to observe. And we only observe these areas when it's financially beneficial, which is also why they're going extinct. We'll get into that.
Yeah. So the reason the volcano snails were even discovered is because of mining, undersea mining in that area. For those who know about a lot of geothermal stuff, where do you find diamond stuff? Carbon that's been compressed and heated by volcanoes pushing it out. So where you got thermal vents, you got a lot of metals, you got a lot of minerals that
things people want.
Yeah, by the center of the earth. So, if you crush a few, incredibly archaic and important snails, you made a couple bucks.
They're not charismatic enough. Luckily they're snails.
They're snails.
Yeah.
I put in my notes, I was like, hey, we're going to talk about the black ones, the iron ones, because they're cooler than the white ones. Right. Well, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm sure the white ones are very accomplished. I'm sure they're loved by their parents. Well, and all that stuff. I'm going for the metal snails.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as I said, the only difference is what whether or not they have access to iron. And the reason
Mhm.
the ones that are white are more white is because what it actually is a combination of calcium and iron. So when you get rid of the iron, all you have left is that outer calcium, the outer shell, instead of an iron spiked calcium thing, you end up with just the calcium thing, because they actually have like, and what's really interesting is they are so fucking metal in metal.
You're gonna hear a lot of metal jokes. Yeah.
So they've evolved so accurately to take impact, because the things that are hunting these guys are like very powerful clawed crabs
Mhm.
that are meant to crush things that can survive 3, however many thousand feet below the water without.
I just go 2 miles deep, so that's a
Right,
lot of pressure.
a lot of
Like,
pressure.
yeah.
The things that evolve there can take a lot of things, so they have very powerful claws. But what they do is they actually have like a hard outer shell, and then there's a squishy layer, which is more like the fleshy part, and then they have another calcium layer on the inside. Which, if you think about how humans came up with armor, like you have the hard outer armor, and then you put like a chain link thing, and then you put like, or is it padding the chain link? I don't know. There's multiple layers to our armor. When, like, if you think of like, actually even modern armor is usually built in multiple layers, because that takes impact better than just having that one hard thing.
Mhm.
So they actually are ridiculously efficient to take that like attack from it. It's actually really fascinating how efficient those little snails got to just be like, fuck off, crab.
Right. Meanwhile, the crab is at the same time evolving sharper and bigger pinchers. It's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get
Right.
you. It's just like this really,
But these guys have
really
been here,
slow
what?
race.
I think they're around 50 million years, maybe 40 to 50 million years is where we date the origin of this type of snail.
They're really, really, really old. Yeah.
So it's been a extremely efficient method, because they're still around. They're still doing things. Yeah, but
Yeah.
and one of the reason I've actually found out when they're actually lit correctly, a lot of them do turn up gold, because you know what
Wait, lit as in like
with like lighting.
Okay.
The reason
Okay.
they look black and red has
I don't
more.
know. You're over there
The
like,
reason,
hey, does this taste good for escargot?
yeah.
Like,
So
does
the
this one
reason
taste-
like that red black color is mostly because of the lighting that the whatever sub does, but a lot of them, the specific metal compound is pyrite.
it's an iron pyrite and
Which, you know what pyrite
greigite.
is. You know, yeah, those are
Yeah.
those are the three that form, and it depends on which mineral is the most common. But so basically, it just depends on where you are, where they are, as to what color the outer thing comes. But like pyrite's that's also known as fool's gold. Literally, these are like little golden snails.
So I
I'm
didn't try
wondering.
to do it at the beginning of the episode
Yeah.
because I didn't think I'd be good at it. But okay, so their technical name,
Oh God, yes.
Chrysomelon squamiferum. I hope I did it even moderately well.
Yeah, that's squamiferum or squamiferum, whatever.
Chrysomelon is the Greek word for golden haired.
Yes, because they were original. They all the images online make them look metal with the black and red, but really
they look like some
they
goth
actually
kid's
like
pet. Like,
but really,
this is
it's
my
like
pet Drac.
it's like
You're
this
like,
golden
okay.
armor set is what they really have, like this golden chic scale mail, which actually scale mail technically doesn't exist.
So we need to
That's a
think
whole
really
nother
more
tangent.
like Arthurian rather than Draculian.
Yes, yeah, and like
Draculian's
cinematic.
cooler. Let's just stay with Dracula, and we'll just let Whitney do his thing.
Whatever, they're awesome.
they are totally awesome.
It's just shiny.
Yeah, they're shiny and metal. So okay, so we went through the shell. So the shell's this metal, awesome shell. But now we go through the foot. Now this is where I get. So they have.
This is where actually what I just described is that 3-layer thing. Is that foot?
Yeah, these pyrite like imagine, if you will, golf cleats.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of little golf cleats on this foot. Yeah. But each of them can move independently. So are they feet? Does it have feet on its foot? Is there a word for that?
It's Whitney, I mean, it has that one. It has that pseudopod thing, which is it's that slimy thing that the snail.
What do you call multiple pods on a single pod?
but it's not multiple pods. All it is
Are
scales.
they
So
fingers?
do you
Are they
do you
toes on the foot?
do you say the scales on the lizard's foot are individual toes? No.
But they can't move independently. The volcano snail can move independently.
Yes, they can, because otherwise the reptile couldn't close its hand.
Oh shit, we're talking about geckos. All
Yeah.
right.
Well,
What
I'm
the
not even talking about
fuck?
geckos. I'm just talking about anything. It's just a lot of little layers that are just stacked on top of each other over and over, so that way it can move and slide. Basically, think of how regular snail or whatever moves. Since there's so much articulation, they have to have all these little joints. So it's not that each one moves independently. It's just that
They
they
look
have
like
to have
it?
they look like they do because it's more like a scaled armor. Because imagine if I have plate versus like a chain link. So think of it more like chain link versus the plate. I now have
Yeah,
full arm movement because
they kind
each
of
of
have
those
plate
little
on the
links.
shell, and
Yeah,
then
it's more that they
okay.
have like lots of little segmented things layered on top of like, and they're literally like scaling on top of each other. So when they move, actually, if you watch a fish when they swim, the scales kind of separate when the
They do. They get the
when
little
the
softy
and that's
bits.
basically what you're seeing is that same
And that,
effect.
kids, is how you kill a dragon. You wait for the scales to
Wait for the
flex
scales to open up,
and go
then
for
you
the squishy
stab.
part. Yeah.
Which so so that's why they got this on their foot, because that's the, if you think about it, that's on a snail, that's the most
Well, there's a couple
vulnerable
different
thing.
theories. Yeah. So, all right. So that's what the outside looks like and stuff. So we
Right.
do have to go into the inside because,
Which is the
that's fun
meaty part,
too.
the next meaty part that I was
All
talking
right.
about. Yeah.
So, and this is where Mother Nature got a sense of humor. She made them like so awesome and badass and quote metal.
Yeah.
But then at some point, Mother Nature must have been like, knock it off with the metal puns and the jokes. The volcano snails over there, like, dude, I am so metal. And Mother Nature's like, you know what? I'm done. Fuck you. For the rest of it, fuck you. So now we'll get into why Mother Nature thinks this is funny. Their heart. So they have a heart.
Yep.
They are animals. Their heart is the largest in the animal kingdom that we know of. Thank you, Whitney.
Well, to the size ratio.
Yes. Otherwise, yeah, they're not attacking a blue whale. Which
Right.
I read somewhere. You're gonna have to let me know. Can I walk through a blue whale's heart? I read somewhere that I could crawl through it.
You can go through the aorta.
Like I can weasel my way, like squeeze through, and then
I've been through a replica heart and I walked through the aorta because there was like one.
So you go in through the aorta into one of the
well, it wasn't a full thing. They just had the heart, and then you just walk through it. They just had a replica of their heart, and you could walk in it, and it looked like a heart, and then you could walk. It just was like a room, and then you go out the aorta.
Right. Otherwise, I'd probably suffocate in the squish.
Yes, eventually it does start getting down, but yeah, for that much blood flow.
So these volcano snails, 4% of their body weight is heart. That's huge. Okay, so I needed some comparison because I was like, that doesn't sound that big. Like my heart's what? My heart, average human heart, is 0.3%.
Yeah, so it would have to be like what?
13
times.
13 times.
Another
so
third
imagine your heart is actually a basketball. Shove that into your rib cage.
There is a reason for this. There is a reason for this. They don't move around a lot, but since there's so little oxygen, and they are actually an aerobic species, just like we are, it's just that they don't, because we have to say that because like those sulfide environments are just, it's sulfur everywhere.
Yeah.
But the bacteria is then digesting some of those chemicals and then creating oxygen and re-releasing oxygen.
Okay.
But
so
the thing is,
how we said they don't eat? Now we're getting into the part that
now we're getting into that.
Eat.
Yeah. So then the thing is, the bacteria that makes the food that the snail can use needs oxygen.
Yes.
So it has to constantly be flowing because it itself, like we can go, air, oxygen, that goes to all of our body systems, including we have symbiotic things, but not to the level that this guy has. But everything needs their different nutrients, including oxygen, and we can just constantly just replace it. They have just this limited amount, and they have to have this constant flow so that everything is just working.
So their heart just has to go like boom, 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 like
boom all the time. Yeah,
through.
We have to push everything through. Everything constantly needs all the fuel, otherwise we die. But we don't have to eat. but nobody. That's also why they don't move though, because
it
it's
takes a
not the
lot of
most
work.
efficient. It's not the most efficient energy system.
So we talked about the
but
bacteria.
it is one that works. Yeah.
So they have an endosymbiotic bacteria that lives in their gut. Their gut is huge. So it's like this little bacteria that hangs out and lives in them that does it's called chemosynthesis. So like plants do photosynthesis, these guys don't. They do chemosynthesis. So what they're doing is they're utilizing the sulfur in the environment as an electron donor.
Yeah.
And that is what is performing their version of photosynthesis. Not the sun, but the sulfur electrons.
Yeah.
So they've got
by
this
comparison,
huge...
we use oxygen and the sun. And they use sulfur, which kills us.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
You mean I won't grow armor? God damn it.
Well, I guess
Like,
they also are using some type of metal ion as well, usually in those chemosynthesis. But
yeah. So these guys have
it's the iron.
Their gut is huge and it's full of bacteria. So they don't eat, which would take like one of the main joys out of my life. If you're watching this video stream, yeah, I like to eat and I won't apologize. So piss off. Yeah.
I have a theory too.
But they still have about why I like to eat.
No, that too.
I was gonna say that's
that's a given. We all like to eat.
Like, have you been to the hibachi grill? Like, come on.
Usually with species like this, there's some phase in their life where they eat and then they stop eating.
That is true.
Think of the sea squirt, stuff like that, where they become sessile and stop. Well, the sea squirt also absorbs like nutrients from the water, but I have a suspicion that their larval state is where they consume what they need for the bacteria, and they consume the bacteria, and they do that, and then they go to
so kind of like the koala and the they call it the pap, where they're like eating their mom's pap to get the right bacteria.
Oh, that would be interesting if they get it from their parent. Right? That would be real interesting. Okay. Well, the thing is, we don't know.
Well, so anatomy-wise, all right.
So they could also be eating tube worms for all we know. They might be eating the gills of a tube worm to get the bacteria.
But so scientists are really awesome because we're willing to learn and exchange ideas for new ones when we come up with new data. So we'll let you know what happens. Maybe. I know it's scary. I know it's scary changing our ideas.
And maybe there's an expert listening. Doubtful, but if there's an expert on volcano snails and we missed some data out there that's like, hey,
please let us know.
Let us know, because maybe this.
So okay, so they don't really have a mouth now. They might have at a larval stage, but they don't now because they don't really need one. So those feet, those pyrite things are actually what scientists believe, is they're the ones helping pull in the sulfur to feed the bacteria. So the more surface area they have, the more sulfur they can pull in from their environment.
Which would also explain the kind of the multiple scaly.
Yeah, because they're all over the place.
That will create more surface area with that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why they believe that's there. So unfortunately, though, they've also lost some things in evolution. Well, actually, other snails probably evolved more. So
either or.
I didn't really know too much about snails. Did you know snails, your average garden snail that's out on the lawn, has 14,000 teeth?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Most people didn't know that. Whitney knew that. All right. I gained a whole new respect for snails.
It looks like a weird buzzsaw type of thing. It is.
It's on their tongue. It's on their tongue because they're scraping up nutrients off rocks and things.
Yep.
Well, the volcano snail doesn't. So so this is called a radulum, is a tongue with huge teeth, thousands of teeth on it. Also, the teeth are on these radulums of snails are the hardest biological material on Earth. They're harder than titanium.
So this is actually one of the reasons why it's important for us to preserve some of these species too, like the snail thing.
Their teeth and use them for
whatever. There's so many.
Totally agree.
There's this it's called it's called reverse bioengineering, where basically we look at nature and then go, oh, that's how that works. Literally, there was a study that I know of where they took animals of various sizes, they got them wet, and then they watched them under a slow motion video to see what the oscillation rate was for them to shake the water off. because that told them the exact efficiency for the oscillation of your washer and dryer to be the most efficient speed depending on its diameter. So they'd look
Which
at
is
little things and big
amazing.
things. So we do this all the time, reverse bioengineer, because you know what does it better than us? Nature.
Everything.
And
Yeah.
you know what we don't know how to do? Make
Yeah.
iron plates out of jack sulfur. So we need to figure
We need to
these
kind of
things
study
out.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, this is a fantastic opportunity for us if we can keep them around long enough.
If we can
study.
somehow figure out a way to make it like, I don't know, like a weapon of war, then we'll know. We'll know.
Oh,
as long
there you
as
go.
if humans can turn it into a war machine, we'll know immediately.
Immediately. Yeah. Oh, all the research. Hey, why are we suddenly saving these snails? Well, we found them how to make something better than a nuke. Oh,
Right?
okay.
Like if we can build a battle axe out of, thousands of snail radials,
Yeah.
we're good. We're good.
But yeah.
So anyway, so they don't the volcano snails really don't have that. They don't really need it because
Nope.
they got all that bacteria in their gut. Oh, I found my statistics. Their gut that the bacteria resides in is 1,000 times bigger than other snails with relation to their body. So I mean, it's huge. It's like,
which it has
so
to be
now
because it's not efficient is the problem. So
well,
they
now
need
I'm thinking
all
about like
that area to.
I take everything and I think about it in my concept. So for my body, so now I've got a basketball size heart.
Yeah.
That the ribs are moving around for that one, and now I need an esophageal gland that's 1,000 times bigger. I think I need a wheelbarrow for that. I'm really like if that's over here.
But here's the thing with evolution: if you need
it
all
would
that,
give it to me.
you're going to get rid of what you don't need. So
wait, I like my arms. So brings us to another thing about the volcano snail. They've got huge nervous systems.
Yeah.
But they have no ganglia on their nervous system. It's just like a blobby mass. None of the little like ganglia that extend out. So the complexity of it is drastically reduced.
Right, because that's wasted energy.
Exactly, it is. You know what else is wasted energy on these guys?
Finding a mate.
We'll get to that. You're right, though. Eyes. They don't have eyes.
Well,
they live in the dark. Sulfur.
Yeah, why?
But so most snails, they kind of see with those little stalks. So these guys do have stalks, which I mean, I get it. It's really dark, you don't want to be like holding your eyeballs and then touching everything with it, like ow, 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 ow. Like I need to see that rock, but ow. It reminds me of there was a cartoon show. Someone will have to bring it like with monsters, and there was a monster that carried around his own eyeballs, and I was like,
"Oh yeah,
wow, evolution fucked you over." So they still have the little stalk, so they don't have a mouth and they don't have eyes, and they're really kind of describing that Metallica song.
But honestly, do you know why they have the stalks then?
So they can feel their way around, right?
Yeah, but why would you need to feel your way around if you don't need to eat? You don't need.
And you don't really need to go anywhere. I don't know.
There's one F left.
Well, there is the
fucking.
Yay! All right, so parents, I know there's some parents out there who are like, oh,
we've been swearing already.
we can let our kids listen to this. It's about nature. They're fine with some profanity. Okay, now's really when they need to go to bed. Because no, we're gonna. I admit I have a 4-year-old who occasionally swears, but I'm pretty proud of him because he does it appropriately. Like he couldn't get the drawer open. He was like, oh fuck. That's like, you know what? I agree with you. That is an oh fuck situation.
Oh fuck moment.
So we do have discussions about grandparents' house language at home
versus home language.
Yeah. But so we really mean it now. Now, kids, it's been wonderful learning about the volcano snail and all its fun and its hard shell and squishy inside. But now, go to bed. Seriously, parents. All right, so on to the fucking woo!
Kids have plenty of shows. They could just put them on other Disney animal shows.
Right? The Octonauts are going to be like, hey, I thought Quasi said, no, Quasi did not say that.
Nope, Quasi
did not learn that from there. So anyway, all right. So now we're getting into the procreation of these little bastards.
Yes.
Now, I was looking this up, and I read one of the single most glorious scientific statements I've ever heard. You want to hear it? The volcano snail has no specialized copulatory appendage. And I was like, oh, like copulatory appendage. I was like, okay. So I had to dig deeper.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have anything special like what the land snail has.
What does a land snail have?
Sperm harpoons!
Oh, shit!
They shoot each other in the face with a dart with semen.
Shit! Oh my god. Okay. All right. No, they don't. They don't have harpoons.
They don't have sperm harpoons.
Wait, the land ones have harpoons and the sea ones don't.
Yeah, they just like stab each other in the face with their. It
should just be like that. Then the land one should get lances, not harpoons.
Yeah. Imagine that. That changes the entire idea of a facial. And
you're not going for a facial. Excuse me. Would you like to keep the harpoons in your face? Yeah, I might need them to fuck myself with later, just for copulation. Could you remove some of the smaller ones?
Can you remove the harpoon? Can you remove this dart from my face? I'm not on the pill.
Oh gosh. So like snails, like they've got this big foot and stuff, but you think, oh, okay, that's where their ass is. No, it's not. No, it's not. Nature kept being funny. It was like, I'm gonna put your ass right around where your shoulder is. So if you're talking to someone, it's just like whoop, dribble down your shoulder. Like,
I mean,
that make flirting a whole lot harder.
That's pretty common with snails, though. Yeah. But yeah.
How you doing? Oh, wow. So Taco Bell last night, eh?
All right.
So, I mean, nature did try and like separate. So the volcano snail is hermaphroditic. So we do need to explain there's a difference between hermaphroditic and asexual. Asexual reproduction is where you're basically just making a clone of yourself with your own DNA. As to where hermaphroditic, your cells are still going through mitosis and meiosis. So you're still making those little gametes.
Right.
You're still making sperm and ovaries. So the snail, Mother Nature was like, I'll put the ovaries over here. I think the ovaries are dorsally and the testes are ventrally. Ventrally. Yeah.
And also, more specifically, these guys are what we call simultaneously hermaphroditic, because there are some animals that are just hermaphroditic. Depends on the phase of their life, or if there's more females to males around them. Like frogs switching
Jurassic
sexes.
Park. We all know the Jurassic Park.
Exactly. Everybody knows the Jurassic Park. That's the other type, the non-simultaneous Jurassic.
Supposed to be eggs.
Yes. The ones that switch are not simultaneous hermaphrodites, but they are both at some point in their life.
So they've got the ovaries over here, the testes over here, and they've got their anus right between them.
Yes.
Because you know what? What's worse than a taint? Two taints. So I was going to try and challenge myself to try and ask Whitney a question that was slightly uncomfortable in every episode. So Whitney, what is the scientific name for a double taint?
A double taint.
He hasn't even turned a slightest shade of red.
The stank. Let's call it the stank.
No, there is a stank.
Okay,
the
stank
dank is when it's smelly.
How about the dank? The
dank.
Or the duank. The duank. It's a dual dank.
Oh, I like the duank.
Duank.
Well, okay. Do you have to? I mean, which way do you wipe then?
Well,
so them they'd wipe ovary to penis.
Well, this is here's the thing. This is a very resource low environment, so I would not be surprised if they're just fucking cecophasias. So if an expert on these guys told me that they were cecophagia, I would not be surprised.
Okay, enlighten me. What is that again?
Shit eater.
Oh,
they eat their own shit because hey, you can't lose that resource.
Like bunny rabbits.
Yes,
hey,
bunny rabbits.
We told you to put the kids to bed. Okay, yeah.
But bunny rabbits do it because
bunnies are eating poo.
They have two phases of, the digestion.
Yeah.
They do the hind gut, so basically one type. The hard pellets are not what they're eating. That's actually different. But anyway, yeah. So these could be cecophagia, where they
It could
eat
be.
their own stuff
Well, no,
because
but their
they don't
bacteria
need.
is eating it.
Well, here's the thing:
But
they
as they
probably
poo a
don't
lot
even.
of sulfur.
Do they even poo that much? I don't think they
I
do.
don't know,
I
but
think that they just cycle most of it, and that either is just in case something comes
they
off
lost
balance.
their mouths because they evolved past needing them.
Right. So
Yet
all they
some
need to
reason they
do,
still need an ass.
because if the bacteria goes off kilter, if anything
Um,
goes off kilter, then they need to find a way to purge and then let it regrow.
yeah.
So that would
Yeah.
be my
So
guess.
yeah, so evolutionarily, either the mother, father, the parental unit would have to
Right.
give them some of this bacteria in their egg, or they would have to
Or
somehow find a parent
not necessarily find a parent. The thing
or
is, that's
find.
why I was saying like the tube worms have a similar setup. There's a lot of creatures down there on the vents that do that. So if as a larva they eat some of those, like if they just eat the
Mm,
gill of a tube worm, they don't even have to eat
okay.
the whole tube worm. If they just chew on the gill, they would absorb some of that bacteria. This is a theory. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But somehow they have to get that bacteria in. So either it's through exposure to the parent, and they could be like oh God, what are those amphibians? Sicilians.
No, no, we're not even Italians. We don't consider
I know,
ourselves. Thank
right?
you. Much
The
less. Yeah,
legless
no, no, no. We're lizards now. Are you saying we are like
Sicilian
Sicilians? By the way, I'm
Sicilians with a
Sicilian.
CEC. Not
Oh, okay. So we're not like the
this
head
is
of
a
the lizard
legless.
people.
It's a legless amphibian that lives in the mud.
No, wait. Go down this
And
rabbit hole with me.
okay,
Could
Sicilian.
the lizard people really just have the mafia as a front?
Oh.
Oh, go down the yeah,
I don't
it's a rabbit
know.
hole.
I don't
All
want to
right.
go in these. That's a
I don't
dark
want to offend
tangent,
anyone. I'm not that type
right?
of Sicilian. I don't have the connections for that.
No, so
Yeah. Anyway.
what those guys do is they actually grow an extra layer of skin, and then the babies eat the skin of their mother. They eat the flesh of their mom.
Aw, how yummy.
So there could be, although I don't know how the
Yeah,
bacteria
that's
could.
a frog, isn't it?
What? No, it's an
Frogs
amphibian.
do that
It's
too?
a
Oh, an
legless.
amphibian. Okay.
It's a legless frog or legless amphibian that lives in the muck of like rainforest and
I think I
high
saw
water
a
areas.
frog doing that too, and it reminded me of Vampire Hunter D, where there's that bad guy with that just launches spiders at you out of his back. And
Yeah. Oh no, you're thinking of the. Oh God, what is that? I know which toad you're thinking of. The
oh, it's a toad.
whatever
Okay, sorry.
toad. It's a toad, and that's not what what that does. Is it just has it absorbs the eggs into its flesh because that's the most
Right?
protective
Yeah.
thing because it's a big toad, and then they pop out. There's that phobia of people that don't like things coming out of
Begins with
holes
a
in the flesh.
T. Begins
Yeah,
with a T.
but it's
Not
their
triple.
nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
It's
it
their
is. It is
nightmare.
totally because like they're looking at you. Like you can
Right.
see them. Like look up this
So
toad. Like toad with babies in its back. I don't know.
so a couple things could be
Google.
going on.
But you can see their
One,
little eyes moving as they follow
yeah.
like the camera. All these little eyes.
I mean, yeah, they're actually they could even have the bacteria. They might never need to eat, in all honesty, or they might just need to eat just enough to get the bacteria going. Because they could actually, the parents could potentially put the bacteria in the egg.
That's what I was saying. And you know,
So
yeah.
who knows? That's the
And
question.
that's
Like,
the thing we don't know.
yeah,
And these guys theoretically could have two parents. They don't need
yes,
it. And finding another snail in that environment is probably
right,
shitty too. You know, like because you don't really if you're in a safe spot
yeah,
and you don't need to go anywhere to eat and you're really not fighting other snails for mates, like
no,
come on.
and you,
It might be advantageous to not move around too much and find some, venomous
and
snails
you
who are going
know,
to eat you or crabs. You might be like, hey, I found a nice little bolt hole. I think I'll
and
just spew eggs.
they practiced enough yoga, and but their goal was not enlightenment.
No, no.
Self fertilization,
So
baby.
so unfortunately, yeah, the scientists at this point, no one knows. Like
Yeah.
no one knows. Do they eat anything else? Probably not. But do they have sex? Like, is there
We
like
do know that
snail copulation
they do
with some
do
events?
copulation. They do copulation. They know that happens,
Well,
but they think it's
snails, like the
rare.
volcano snails.
Yeah, they do know
Okay.
that happens. They just don't know how often it happens or anything like that. So they think, but they do know for a fact. So some hermaphrodites, as one might put it, take two to tango. Not all
They
hermaphrodites do. These hermaphrodites are simultaneous hermaphroditic, so they have are always both at all times, but they also self-fertilize. They do that yoga for another reason, if you will.
So okay, so the biggest advantage, so there is self-fertilization and gametes from two different parents. Statistically, the self-fertilizing babies, so moms or dad, have much less chance of survival. Because if you have any recessive genes, chances are you're kind of getting both recessive genes and you're fucked. Also, it's that old kind of adage of, we want to spread the genes apart. You want to get more dominant and less recessive, unless the dominant makes you fucked.
But the thing is, species like this have a way to counteract that. I mean, it's even like there's a reptile that's all female. Like literally they just parthenogenesis, i.e. they just give virgin birth. Although they're not all virgins because they still like to fuck, which is weird. It's just
it depends then what you believe is what is the point where that virginity ceases. Is
right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, even with those that are literally full clones of the parents, what they tend to do, there's this thing during the mitosis. I always mix up which one's which.
Mitosis is usually first yes.
Yeah.
The division of the cells versus the division of the DNA into two separate cells.
Right. The one that makes gametes. There's this point in it called cross-linkage where basically you have the chromosome from the mom and the chromosome from the dad that's in this one entity, and they actually start breaking and spreading the genes between them. They mix them up. So they self-mix it up, and they find that species that are
new ones. I mean,
right, but you'd be surprised at how much that works, which is why something from 50 million years ago can still have a primary method of reproduction. It's
still alive today. It's still moving.
It's still working. Yeah.
Well,
what it does is it also increases the chances of mutation. So therefore, because whenever cross linkages happen, there can be a potential change in the DNA strands. So there is still some variation in the population due to that increase. Other animals that actually we find it with any animal that has a lot of inbreeding too. So
except
cattle,
humans don't. Like that. So that's why when you go into the Appalachian
Mountains, these are specifically for species that have evolved to do this.
Yeah, humans have not evolved to do this.
Humans did not evolve to do this.
Do this.
Do not try this.
That's why that gene pool for humans can get shallow really fast. Quote one of my favorite comedians, Eddie Izzard. He's like, that's where the royal families come. It's like they're all like, hello. Because the gene pool got really shallow.
Really low, right.
Yeah.
But for these guys, they have these genetic things that probably are in play because we see them in other animals that do that, and that's how they're able to survive. Think about bees and whatnot.
Bees they do their maiden flight. We'll talk about them someday too because they're super cool.
Well,
so
to an extent,
all in all. So that's the volcano snail. Heavily metal, huge heart, like a knight in shining armor. Huge heart encased in a solid metal shell, giving love to anything that probably bumps into it if it seems so inclined.
And if it can't, just suck it.
If it can't, just go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Like, that's really not an insult to a volcano snail. That's right. Really just they're like, hey, go
stay in the life. What?
Like,
all right.
I
don't mind if I do.
Right. I'm gonna have some fun with it. Drop some BBs. Try not to step on them. I still like. Otherwise, they'd have to have like the little babies. Like if they weren't heavier than water, they'd like have to be like on little balloon strings or something. Like just taking the children for a walk.
Don't mind us.
So that's the volcano snail.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I would love to be like. I'd love to be doing this in 10 years. Let me tell you, this is so much fun. And like in 10 years, be like, hey, guess what? We're going to update the volcano snail. Let me tell you about the
They're extinct. Stage. Oh, fuck.
Well,
I'm a pessimist.
They are endangered. They are endangered already. I mean, I don't know. Before humans even found them, they might have been endangered because they're really like,
Well, here's the thing. This is endangered to based on what we know. So the thing is, we don't explore all the volcano things at the bottom of the ocean. So there could be more. So there's that hope.
They're hot and
There's
kind
that
of
hope.
shitty down there.
Yeah, it's hard to research. It takes a lot of money, a lot more than using a PS3 controller or whatever the fuck they used, or Xbox controller.
I don't know what went wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
what could have gone wrong with this? We just did it on a budget.
I would have been sitting there with that. They're like, if I was the one with the controller with the remote, for the sub, I'd be like, I got lagged out.
General rule is when you're going this deep, you got to spend more money than what you would spend on Wish or Team.
This is the Wish submarine.
Wish submarine.
But yeah, so they're threatened by IUCN. The Red List has declared
IUCN,
them, has declared them, endangered. So if you want to help these wonderful, amazing creatures, some of the oldest form of sentient, pseudo-sentient life. I mean, their brain, there's really no ganglia, but we'll call them sentient life. Look for responsible deep sea mining and exploration. Look to fund those groups that are doing it very responsibly. And
and support things like IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature, which if you're trying to get your information, I always suggest, when I was working in the zoo field, I might use Wikipedia a little bit, but then I always checked it to IUCN because that would have the most current status and data, particularly with population and whatnot on anything. So
yeah,
I always use that source.
And that is, like we said, that's a rough estimate because you're looking
down.
Well, a couple miles down, you're going through these black smoking hydrothermal vents, and you're looking for something the size a little bit smaller than a golf ball.
Yeah. But hey,
I sometimes can't find the milk in the refrigerator. Okay,
with global warming, they might become one of the more populous species.
Right.
How hot is this ocean gonna get?
Well, no, but then theoretically we're going with the 12 monkeys theory, where Earth becomes the outside of Earth becomes kind of unhospitable, so we got to move deeper. I guess that was the Matrix too. We got to kind of move down. So we'll be like, excuse me, I want this real estate. You snails can fuck off.
Yep.
I need this for me.
Well, and also at the same time, this understanding these synthetic chemosynthesis methods would be what we would need, because literally the snail is producing its own oxygen as well as those metal and everything else. The metal was just kind of a side effect where it's like, hey, what do we do with all this shit? I don't know. Let's put this to use. All right, we're armored up.
Let's go. Yeah, come at me again now, Sebastian. Fuck you.
Come on, Sebastian. Motherfucker.
I'll take you and Flounder on. Sing a song about this one, bitch.
Spear versus shield, motherfucker. Impenetrable shit. Which wins?
So these snails, I mean, they're really awesome. They're really fun. Yeah, I have to admit, I love animals, and I would love to go see many creatures in the wild, but I'm with my son right now on this one. The ocean's some scary, scary shit.
And I'm lazy.
Well, I mean, there's that too. I mean, it's comfy here.
It's
like
comfy.
even though my husband tries to keep the temperature at like 60 degrees in our house, it's still better than it could be.
Camping and whatnot was a lot more fun in my 20s. I'm just saying.
So anyway, so please join us again. If you love animals, you love nature, and you wanna be the cool guy at the water cooler who's like, let me tell you about this.
Let me tell you about the snail that sucked itself off on the
or just try and make them uncomfortable. Excuse me. What would you call an animal with two taints? Where would you
ask the important questions, people?
Right. So we love people who want to listen and learn, and we'll have a website up and going soon, and you can kind of ask us questions. Yeah, feel free to ask us questions. Because if I don't know, I'll make up an answer and I'll let you figure out whether I'm making it up or not.
Yes. We're going to play two truths and a lie with our biology knowledge.
So you might be going over the water cooler and going, hey, did you know there's a kind of woodpecker that goes after like a moose's ass? You know, and people will be like, no, you know, I'd be like, no, I heard it. It's true. So, but thank you for joining us again on our pilot episode, and have fun with all the stuff that we're having fun with.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Is that going to be your signature goodbye?
I don't know.
You're going to be Hanky the Christmas Pooh?
Bye, everybody. I was kind of thinking Mickey Mouse, but it's kind of cross between the two.
Well, isn't it, some of his oldest stuff is now public domain, so knock yourself out. We might not get sued by Disney now. Oldest stuff.
Don't.
We're
going to get sued by Disney.
We'll be fucked over.
All right.
You know, yeah. Okay, so ta-ta for now.
Titties for now. Ta-ta for now.
The snails don't have that, or we just haven't found them yet.